Our next contributor has had a lifelong interest in anal probes. Some critics have traced Dean Ballinger's achievements in music and the fine arts back to a youthful fascination with alien abduction and rectal examination. The lyrics of his seminal song Marmite Man betray as keen an interest in extraterrestrial proctology as they do urban legends surrounding the reptilian shapeshifter Pete Sinclair. Ballinger's cartoon achievements have likewise indulged scatological themes, betraying influences as varied as Viz magazine's Johnny Fartpants and professional abductee and enema proponent Whitley Strieber. Here to get to the bottom of stories about Hamilton UFOs, Dr. Dean Ballinger.
Thanks as always, Richard. Good at weddings and 21st, of course. Self-explanatory there, obviously ship just coming from some probing in the Termudu area where I grew up. And yes, UFOs in the Waikato, a brief history, and now it's the presenter waiting for the 20 seconds to expire so I can move on to the next slide. There we go. 1952, John Stewart, resident of James Street, Peachgrove, also a UFO investigator. Most of the illustrations from his book. Doesn't look much like a James Street house architectural style. Published in America. With his female co-researcher, apparently young and very attractive, but that's another side of the story, develops a theory that UFOs have bases out the South Pole, coming here to mine our magnetite and various other raw materials. And both are subsequently terrorized by the UFO entities into silence for knowing too much. They are threatened by Men in Black. This is the original Men in Black, not the crappy Men in Black 3 at the movies at the moment. They have no eyebrows, drive black Cadillacs, smell funny apparently, if you even meet them. Also known as people from the Inland Revenue Service, I suppose. But anyhow, he's terrorized by monsters around his house. This is the monster that terrorized him on James Street. He did say that the monster was definitely male, so apparently it's meant to have some huge schlong, kind of E.T. John Holmes type appendage, you can imagine. This is censored version, obviously, from the book, but that's otherwise it. Mr. Stewart later writes a book about his experiences, of which this is the cover, which you can buy from me online, $50. I can't quite remember what the Sphinx has got to do with it, the aliens. Maybe we're doing a bit of probing on the Sphinx at the time. Very famous 1950s. 1961, UFOs photographed above Hamilton by a teenage boy on holiday at a city motor camp. Obviously the real mystery is why the family are on holiday in Hamilton in the first place. So there's two photos. This is the first one. Both of the photos are now treated with suspicion as possible hoaxes, possibly because of something like, hey, Mum and Dad, look what I just photographed. Wow, that's pretty cool, Johnny. Okay, we'll send that to the paper. So I suspect that's what's happening with a teenage boy involved. Maybe off Ruakura Road. I've tried to figure out where that was. 1968, a few days after Ngātia residency, strange lights in the sky, mysterious circles are found burnt into local scrubland. Obviously an aerial shot. Maybe a close-up of a hedgehog with mange, I'm not quite sure, but a person in the circle, I believe, in the middle there. The circles are widely believed to be landing traces of a UFO, and the case makes international headlines. Now, the DSIR, apparently their main explanation was that wild pigs had gone searching for food, and they dig up the ground, and this is what caused the damage to the scrub. So when it got into the mainstream media, they apparently said it was caused by pigs rooting, which maybe they should have put those terms around the other way. 1969-1970, a farmer at Pukatutu near Tikawiti has several UFO sightings and finds apparent UFO landing sites on his property. I believe some folk dancing troops were sort of gone feral at the time, so that might also account for some of those. And a rediscovered precursor just recently put on the internet of these episodes is this photo of an alleged UFO site on a farm at Waiutu near Pechakucha from 1965. Although Pechakucha is where the tradition of a diesel drop and a sort of burnout was begun, I believe, around about the same era, so there may be another explanation for this particular image. 1980, a nighttime eeling expedition near Mount Kirioi, Raglan, is disrupted by the appearance of a mysterious aerial visitor. This is from the front page news of the Waikato Times from 1980, and I did talk to the wife of Mr. Rooker there, she was actually in one of my classes where I got the idea from for that one. 1989, a local farmer reports seeing UFOs in the vicinity of, well, I was going to have a dramatic pause for the vicinity, which is obviously revealed by the clipping there, so it doesn't really matter. Yes, it's Te Pāhu. Te Pāhu, lots of UFOs. Coming along too, because I underwrote that a little bit, 2000s, an unknown craft is reported from around the country, Ikitahuna, Waikakamukau, various other famous and exotic locales, possibly windows, possibly drug hallucination, sort of fractal images on the eyeball as well. Anyway, notably by farmers in the Waitatuna Valley between Raglan and, wait for it, Te Pāhu. So if you want to get a bit of probing, Te Pāhu is obviously the locale to go. This is the flight path of the saucer from one of the investigators' reports, what the farmer saw. Confessions of a Te Pāhu farmer. 2004, a Hamilton youth, now the writing on these next two slides is direct quotes from his website account. 2004, a Hamilton youth claims that he and several friends encountered aliens at a property of Kahikatea Drive one weekend night. Although, thinking about it really, Kahikatea Drive on a weekend night with Hamilton youths, you're probably likely to not encounter aliens. But now the witness did not reply to the speaker's request for further details. I thought I'd follow this up just to see what happens. So I contacted him via the website, email link, and I got his mum. Oh yes, that sounds great, I'll get Johnny for you. And Johnny did not reply, funnily enough. Shit, someone from the university, bloody shit. 2008, witness reports seeing the glowing eyes of a strange creature at night on a Puketaha farm, glaring at them through the window. This follows UFO sighting a few days previously. Now this picture my sister used to scare me with when I was little, from an old book, before I went to bed. Dean, the gobblers are going to come and get you. I used to have terrible nightmares, fucking bitch. March 2011, residents of North Hamilton suburbs report strange aerial lights, some of which are photographed to make the Waikato Times, like this one. Although if I was living in Flagstaff or Rototuna, I'd probably want them to beam me up or pro me to alleviate the monotony as well, I would think. And that is the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean, to the point as ever.